Ready to jump back into Harry Potter? We're looking at Chapter 14 of Prisoner of Azkaban today.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, things get pretty wild.
It's a big one.
Is Sirius Black breaks into Hogwarts.
Uh-huh.
Buckbeak is facing trial.
Yep.
Harry and Ron are fighting with Hermione.
Yeah.
And on top of all that,
Yeah.
there's a secret Hogsmeade trip.
So much going on.
So much going on.
It's a real turning point in the book.
Yeah.
Everything starts to feel so much more serious. Like there's real danger everywhere.
Absolutely. And you feel that danger right away.
Uh-huh.
Because right after Black breaks into Gryffindor Tower,
Yeah.
Hogwarts goes into full lockdown mode.
Oh, yeah. They basically turn the castle into a fortress overnight.
Totally.
Like Flitwick's charming all the doors and Filch is boarding up windows.
Right.
They even have those creepy security trolls guarding the fat lady's portrait.
I know.
It's intense.
Talk about taking things to the extreme.
Right.
But you know what's interesting?
What's that?
They overlook one very important place.
Okay.
The one-eyed witch statue.
The
one that leads to Hogsmeade.
Oh, right.
It's almost like a little wink from J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's hinting at what Harry and Ron are about to do.
It's a great detail, and it kind of foreshadows their whole rebellious streak. That desire to break free.
Yeah.
Especially with all this chaos.
Uh-huh.
But before we get to that Hogsmeade adventure, we've got poor Neville Longbottom.
Oh, no.
Having to face the music for forgetting those passwords.
I know that howler from his grandmother.
Oh, gosh.
In the middle of the Great Hall.
It's brutal.
It's just brutal.
You can just feel the entire school cringing for him.
I know.
It's a moment of comic relief, but it also shows how vulnerable Neville is.
Yeah.
Like he's always under pressure to live up to his family's legacy. And that fear of failure really hangs over him.
It does, yeah. And speaking of things not looking so bright, things aren't going so well for Hagrid either.
No, not at all.
Harry and Ron visit him.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious that the trial's weighing on him.
I mean, Hagrid tries to be brave, put on a brave face.
Right.
But you can see the fear and despair in his eyes.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny and sad at the same time to picture Buckbeak, just casually munching on dead ferrets.
On his bed.
Right on Hagrid's bed.
I know.
It's a good reminder of how wild Buckbeak really is.
Right, and that's exactly what's gotten him into trouble.
Exactly.
It's also great contrast because Hagrid's trying to be all respectable for the trial.
Yeah, he's got that giant suit hanging up.
I know.
Like he thinks that'll help.
I know.
He's clinging to hope.
Right.
But you can sense this underlying dread.
You really can. And then, as if Hagrid doesn't have enough to worry about,
I know.
There's this whole rift between Ron and Hermione.
Oh, yeah. Their fight over Scabbers.
It's just getting worse.
It's really coming to a head.
Yeah, remember when Ron says,
what?
You think it's a coincidence, do you, that Crookshanks makes a beeline for Scabbers and Scabbers disappears?
Oh, yeah.
And then Hermione just fires back.
Oh, I know what she says.
I've told you a million times Crookshanks wouldn't hurt a fly.
A classic Hermione response.
It is, and they're both so caught up in their own side of things.
Totally.
That they can't see the other person's point of view.
It's classic.
Yeah.
It's tough to see their friendship like this.
It is.
Especially with Hermione already so stressed with schoolwork.
Right.
And she's feeling really isolated.
Yeah, and you see how much it's affecting her when she starts crying after Black Ashik almost attacks Ron.
Oh, right, in the dormitory.
Yeah, shows how much she cares about him.
It does.
Even though they're fighting.
It's a good reminder that even in a world with magic, friendships are still fragile.
They are.
You have to work at them.
Exactly. And I think that's why, with all this drama going on,
Harry
and Ron decide they just need a break.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they grab the invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
And the Marauders map.
Of course.
And they sneak off to Hogsmeade.
A little mischief.
Little mischief.
I love it.
It's their way of, feeling normal again.
Yeah.
Like they have some control.
Right.
And you know what?
What?
Their shopping spree at Zonko's.
Oh, yeah.
Pure gold.
Hilarious.
They buy dung bombs and hiccup sweets.
Classic.
Extendable ears.
Oh, I love those.
It's like they're ready to start a prank war.
Exactly. They're just kids having fun.
I know.
Trying to escape everything for a bit.
Yeah. But of course,
What?
Trouble finds them.
Of course it does.
It comes in the form of Draco Malfoy.
Oh, Malfoy.
I know he's always lurking around.
Always.
Waiting to stir up trouble.
Yeah.
And he can't resist taunting Harry and Ron.
About Hagrid.
About Hagrid and Buckbeak.
Uh-huh.
And that's what leads to the whole mudslinging scene.
Oh, right.
Harry's hiding into the invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
And he just starts pelting Malfoy with mud.
Hilarious.
But then the cloak gets snagged, and Malfoy catches a glimpse of him.
So he knows someone's there.
He knows. And that's what sets off this whole chain of events that leads to a very unpleasant run-in with Snape.
Oh, speaking of Snape.
Yeah.
He is not a happy camper in this chapter.
No, he's not.
He's suspicious and bitter.
Uh-huh.
And he sees this as another chance to go after Harry.
Totally. And it's even worse.
What?
When Harry lets it slip that Snape owes his life to James Potter.
Ooh, that's a bombshell.
It is. It totally changes things between them.
It really does. Yeah, you start to question everything you thought you knew about Snape.
I know.
And why he acts the way he does.
Right. And that resentment leads him to demand that Harry empty his pockets.
Oh, right. Which brings us to the Marauder's map.
Exactly.
Which is such an interesting magical artifact.
It is.
More than just a map.
Right. It's like a symbol of rebellion.
Yeah, and hidden knowledge.
Yeah.
And I love that it refuses to cooperate with Snape.
I know.
Instead, it just insults him.
It's like it has a mind of its own.
It really does.
Challenging Snape's authority.
Yeah.
Reminding him that there are things he doesn't know.
Exactly.
And then, of course, Lupin shows up.
Right.
And he downplays the map.
Like it's no big deal.
Yeah, and then he takes it from Harry.
To protect him.
Yeah. But it makes you wonder.
Right. What's his connection to the map?
Right.
Why is he so quick to help Harry?
Exactly.
It's like another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But we still don't have the whole picture.
We don't. And then just when you think things can't get any worse,
oh no,
Hermione arrives with terrible news.
What happened?
Hagrid lost the case.
Oh no.
Buckbeak's going to be executed.
That's awful.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It makes everything else feel insignificant.
It really does.
It casts such a dark cloud over everything.
Definitely. It's just awful for Hagrid.
I know.
It's a real reminder that this magical world isn't always fun and games.
Right.
There are real consequences and injustice.
Definitely.
And loss.
Yeah, it adds a layer of darkness for sure. But it also, I think, makes Harry and Ron and Hermione even more determined to fight for what's right.
Absolutely. And speaking of fighting for what's right, let's go back to that scene between Harry and Snape.
Okay.
It's more than just a teacher scolding a student.
Right.
It's like this clash of personalities fueled by years of resentment.
Yeah, you can feel how much Snape dislikes Harry.
Oh, totally.
He's always comparing him to his father.
Yeah, like when he says you're arrogant and conceited just like your father.
I know, and it really gets to Harry.
Of course.
Especially because he doesn't even remember his parents.
Right.
It's like he's being punished for something he didn't do.
Exactly.
And, you know, it makes you think about Snape.
Yeah.
And all the baggage he's carrying around.
Yeah.
It's affecting everything he does.
It really is. And then Harry throws that bombshell.
I know.
About James saving Snape's life.
It completely changes things.
It does. Snape's totally thrown. You can see the hurt in his eyes.
Yeah, it adds this whole other layer to their relationship.
It makes you wonder what Snape's true motivations are.
I know.
It's like this theme of hidden truths. And how the past affects the present.
It does. And speaking of hidden truths,
yes,
the Marauder's map.
Such a cool and magical item.
I know, it's more than just a way to sneak around Hogwarts.
Right.
It's like this metaphor for truth and deception.
I like that because on one hand, it shows you exactly what's happening in the castle.
Yeah.
But it was created by a group of friends who used it to break the rules.
Exactly.
So it represents both truth and deceit.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting that Snape can't figure out how it works.
Oh, wow.
This master of potions and the dark arts, he can't see the truth.
It's like the map is mocking him.
Only remember when it says, Mr. Mooney presents his compliments to Professor Snape and begs him to keep his abnormally large nose out of other people's business?
I love that. It's hilarious.
I know. And then Lupin arrives.
Of course.
And he acts like the map is nothing special.
And he takes it away.
To protect Harry, but it makes you wonder about Lupin. What's his connection to the map?
Right.
Why is he helping Harry so much?
J.K. Rowling really knows how to build suspense.
She does.
She gives us little hints, but never the whole story.
Right. And speaking of suspense,
oh,
we can't forget about that moment.
Yeah.
When Hermione tells everyone about Hagrid losing the case.
Buckbeak.
It's like a punch to the gut.
It is.
It just overshadows everything.
It's so sad.
It is. It reminds you that even in the wizarding world, bad things happen.
There's injustice.
Exactly.
It makes Harry, Ron, and Hermione face a harsh reality.
It does, and it's a big turning point for them.
Yeah.
And they're realizing the world isn't so simple.
Right.
That adults make mistakes.
Yeah. That sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in.
And that you can't always follow the rules.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think that's one of the big takeaways from this whole chapter, from the whole series even.
Okay.
It's about finding your voice.
Yeah.
Standing up for what's right.
Right.
And never giving up hope.
Even when things seem impossible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's why so many people love Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. More than just a children's story.
It really is. And this chapter, chapter 14 of Prisoner of Azkaban, it's a great example of why.
It really is. You have humor suspense.
Yeah.
Character development.
Right.
Important themes.
Yeah.
It makes you think.
Definitely. Okay, so before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, let's talk about the setting.
Of this chapter.
Yeah, Hogwarts.
Hogwarts plays a big role here in setting the mood.
It does, with all the security and the rumors about the shrieking shack.
Yeah.
Hogwarts doesn't feel safe anymore.
No, it feels like there's danger everywhere. And then you have everything that happens in this chapter.
Right.
The break-in. The trial.
Yeah, the fighting.
It all makes you feel like things are out of control.
Yeah, but you know, there are still those moments of fun.
Oh, yeah. Like when Harry and Ron go to Hogsmeade.
Right.
That's their escape.
It shows that even in dark times, there can still be joy.
Right.
It's like life. A mix of light and shadow.
And even in the darkest times, there's still hope.
Exactly. And we're going to explore that more in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at the symbolism and deeper meanings that make this chapter so interesting.
Okay, so we're back for the last part of a deep dive into chapter 14.
Yeah.
And we've talked about all the tension and the fighting and Hagrid, you know. But there's another layer we need to look at.
That's that.
All the symbolism.
Oh, yeah.
That J.K. Rowling puts into the story.
She's so good at that.
I know. And I think one of the biggest symbols in this chapter is the shrieking shack.
Oh, definitely.
It's not just some abandoned building.
Right.
It represents fear and isolation and all those secrets that people keep. Even the name Shrieking Shack.
Yeah.
It just gives you chills.
It does.
Like the shack itself is a character.
I like that.
Reflecting everyone's anxieties.
And it's interesting how it's connected to both humor and danger.
Right.
Like when Harry's using the invisibility cloak to prank Malfoy.
Yeah, near the shack.
It's funny at first.
Right.
But then it gets serious.
When Snape catches him?
Exactly.
It's like the shack itself is making things worse.
Yeah, it becomes a symbol of suspicion and confrontation.
Yeah. And then, of course, we find out later that the shack has a whole other meaning for Lupin.
Right.
It was his safe place where he could transform without hurting anyone.
It shows that even in the darkest places, you can find some peace.
Right. So it's not just about fear and isolation.
Exactly.
It's also about acceptance.
And finding comfort in unexpected places.
Yeah, okay, so let's switch gears a bit.
Okay.
And talk about the Marauders map.
Oh, yeah.
It's more than just a tool for sneaking around.
Right.
It's a metaphor for truth and deception.
Interesting, because on one hand, it shows you the truth.
Right. Everything that's happening.
But it was also created by a group of friends who were trying to deceive everyone.
Exactly. So it's both truth and lies.
And I think it's significant that Snape can't understand it.
I know he's so smart.
Right. But he can't see past his own prejudices.
It's like the map is laughing at him.
Remember when it says Mr. Mooney presents his compliments to Professor Snape and begs him to keep his abnormally large nose out of other people's business?
I know, it's so funny. And then Lupin shows up.
Of course.
And he just acts like it's nothing special.
And he takes it.
To protect Harry. But it makes you wonder.
That Lupin.
Yeah, what's his connection to the map?
Right.
Why is he so focused on helping Harry?
It's like J.K. Rowling gives us these clues.
Yeah.
But she doesn't reveal everything.
She's so good at keeping us guessing.
And you know, one of the most powerful moments is when we find out about Buckbeak.
Oh, yeah.
Hagrid losing the case.
I know, it's just heartbreaking.
It really is.
It reminds us that even in a world with magic, there's still bad things that happen.
Injustice.
Exactly.
And loss.
Yeah. It makes Harry, Ron, and Hermione face reality.
Yeah. They're starting to see that the world isn't so simple.
Right. It's not black and white.
Yeah. Even adults can be wrong.
And sometimes you have to fight for what's right.
Even if you have to break the rules.
I think that's a big theme in Harry Potter. Finding your voice.
Yeah.
Standing up for what you believe in.
And never giving up hope.
Exactly.
Even when things are tough.
It's a really powerful message.
It is. And I think that's why this chapter,
Yeah.
chapter 14 of Prisoner of Azkaban, it's so important.
It really is. It shows us why Harry Potter is so much more than just a children's story.
It teaches us about life.
It does.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Our deep dive into chapter 14.
We uncovered hidden meanings.
Looked at the characters.
And hopefully gave you some new ideas.
About this amazing book.
And that's what we love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
They make us look deeper.
And seal the magic.
So until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
And keep the magic alive.